But I'd like to, go ahead and we're going to get started with the meeting. And the first announcement I have for the Northwest CPC is I'd like to welcome a new panelist member, Jackie Cooke. And we met with her the other day, and the rest of the panel did concur, thumbs up to have her join the panelists. So we welcome Jackie. She'll bring a lot to the table. Jackie, do you have anything you'd like to say?
No, I'm looking forward to working with everyone on the panel and our guests.
Okay. Well, we certainly welcome you, and I believe that puts us at 8 on the panel, but I'll run the number again, Tom. I know you asked for that. So we'll go on then to the next item on the agenda, Albuquerque Police Department updates, Northwest Area Command Crime Report. And Commander, if you'll go ahead and start off with that, sir, we appreciate you.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us here again. It's nice to see everybody. Real quick, before I go into the stats, I do want to introduce, I don't know, I think most of you know, and if you don't, I guess I'll let you know that I will be retiring in a month. Acting Commander Saladin is going to be my replacement, and he is on here today. So I'm gonna have him just introduce himself. Dave.
Hello. Most of the panel, I've served on the panel through the academy for the last couple of years. Excited for the opportunity to take over the Northwest. I know one of the concerns that the CPC has always had is the turnover in commanders in this area command. I've committed to Chief Medina that I'll stick around for the next 3 years before I retire. I was excited to get the Northwest Area Command because I've lived here for the last 18 years, and I've served on this panel, so I know most of you, and I've spoken here before. So I think Commander Sanchez and I are very like-minded, so the transition will be very smooth.
Yeah, I have to admit, whenever I got that from you, Art, it was a little unpleasant for me, because I really do believe, and I know that you have done a lot to improve the Northwest, because it's a constant uphill battle. And I know that Dave, coming out of the academy, and his background, as a matter of fact, I believe I was talking to, she was a previous commander at the Northwest. Is it Parker or Barker last night?
Parker, yes.
Parker.
Yeah. She was at the DEA academy that I was at, and we were talking about this, that you were moving on. And I can speak for the rest of the panel, but they can all say for themselves. I know that you have done a tremendous job here in the Northwest Area Command, that every concern that was ever brought to you was investigated and actions were taken. And the example I can throw out real quick was putting cameras down in the Mariposa Park, and for all the things that were going on there that shouldn't have been, and that got cleaned up within weeks. Cameras were in there within days. And again, what you did this morning on a concern from a citizen, the action that you took, and we certainly will miss you. You're well deserving of a retirement. You served the city and our community faithfully for many years, and I wish you personally, I wish you the best with your future, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I do thank everybody. I got to tell you, I have had such great support from everybody here. And this is definitely has to be the best area command, the most supportive area command. And I worked on all the other ones. There's a lot of great support in in the other area commands, but I got to tell you, by far, this is definitely the best area command. The support that you all show for the officers has been amazing. And not just support, making sure that, you know, that what I always said, and even at the beginning when I first came here, is that you're holding us accountable and you're asking us those questions, but you're also working with us to try to find solutions to some of these concerns that we've had. And I do thank every single one of you because you have made my year here at the Northwest successful. So thank you for that. But you're going to be in good hands. I've known Dave for a long time, and you're going to be in really good hands. So, well, I'm going to go real quick into where we are with the stats. Again, if you have any questions, by all means, let me know. But again, you know, we're still seeing a lot of decreases in our property crimes, which has been great. It means that a lot of the things that we're putting out there with regards to property crimes that the community is doing. I can tell you, and I'll give you, you know, the year-to-date numbers for property crimes, but year-to-date, we're showing about a 17% decrease as compared between 2020 and 2019. So we're going the comparisons till then. So that is great with property crimes. And the thing with, when we talk about property crimes, those are the crimes that us as a community can do a lot more to reduce. Now, on the other hand, our violent crimes, we're still continuing to see some increases, but not the same amount or the same increases that are happening in other area commands. With some of those crimes, we can obviously take steps to try to ensure that we don't become a victim of a robbery and things like that. But a lot of those, they're a little bit more unpredictable than property crime. So again, I know that we're going to continue. I'm still here for another month, and we're going to continue to reduce those crimes and try to do everything to bring it down. So, but that's where we're at. We did have our cop on a corner this morning. I will say that I will say I'm a little disappointed. The morning, actually, we had quite a turnout for cop on a corner. I was a little disappointed for swing shift. We didn't have anybody there, but we're going to continue to have them. We're going to continue to send out those flyers, and we just encourage everybody to be out there. You know, the cop in a corner isn't, it's a little bit different than what we've done in the past, because we're actually allowing the community to be there while we're handling a briefing with our officers. So they kind of see how their officers brief and how they start our day, and again, give you an opportunity, an opportunity to, you know, to talk to the officers, get to know them and meet them. We know that our resources are low, so a lot of times our officers don't get as much of an opportunity to make contact with a lot of the community, but you know, we want this to be another thing that we do to give them the opportunity to meet their beat officers. So we'll send that out again. Pete will send it out with the time. We're hoping that we'll get people to attend. I know swing shift at 2:30 is a little bit hard for people. So, but that's it. That's all I have right now from the area command. If anybody has any questions, please ask me, and I'll put my email on there too.
Actually, anybody that has a microphone, go ahead and just take your turn, because I don't really look to see if you're raising your hand. All right, so if you have a question, go ahead and fire away, please.
Good evening, Commander. I'm curious whether you know what our response times are for high priority crimes?
Well, it depends on high priority crimes. You know, so we have a couple of different categories. We have 5 categories of priorities. Usually our priority ones and priority twos are the more higher priorities that usually get dispatched within a few minutes. I don't have the exact numbers from last week. I receive response times, not only from the time the call's created to the time an officer's dispatch and the time that they arrive. And I don't have the numbers right now, but I will tell you that we have seen a little bit of an increase on our response time, but most of the response times between a 1 on a 1 and a 2 are really are within minutes. Those calls are dispatched, within minutes for the most part. But I can get those, and I can send them out to and kind of give Jeff a breakdown on where we are.
Sir, can you see the chat? It's a
Yes.
pretty lengthy question.
Okay.
And it deals with misdemeanors, and I believe it's focused to theft, vandalism, trespassing, animal abuse.
No. So, the question has to do with individuals who are, who have active warrants, who are committing petty misdemeanor theft, vandalism, kind of the misdemeanor type offenses that are not being held accountable. No, right now we don't necessarily have any kind of warrants team or where our officers are actually going out to serve some of these misdemeanor warrants. Again, it does come down to a resource issue. We have to balance the response on on those priority 1 calls and those high priority calls, or taking officers out of the area command to go serve misdemeanor warrants. I'm not saying they're not important, because they are, but we have to balance that. So it's not that they're not being held accountable. We're just not sending those officers to actively look for them. However, when an officer comes into contact with an individual and they run that individual for warrants, and they show that they have a misdemeanor warrant, an arrestable warrant, usually those officers will make an arrest. Again, I can't say that they will do it every single time, but I know with some of the reports that I've seen that some of those individuals are being arrested on those misdemeanor offenses or warrants.
And I'll say this, if you know of a person with an active warrant, that can be handled in a different way. I mean, yeah, if it's a misdemeanor, that's a little bit different. But if you know of an area, actually, when it comes down to warrant roundup, doesn't that fall more under BCSO on doing warrant roundups? Sheriff's departments are responsible to execute warrants.
They can. I mean, it's really not just Sheriff's Department. I think it's up to all of us, all
Right.
law enforcement agencies. But when you talk about resources, it's just that balance. And I think with SO, they still have, although they have, I think they're a little bit better staff in comparison to us. They still have some of those resource issues, and I don't know, they may have a team, I don't know.
Yeah, they do have a warrants team. They do, I know that. And they also do their grip operations. And if someone has a specific area where you think that is, I know I can write a letter to the commander that runs the grip operations for SO, and they'll do a task saturation. That always helps out whenever they come inner city and do that. The bottom line is both APD or BCSO are out there to protect the public and to get the criminals off the street. All right, I hope that answered the question that was in there. The next question, can you do cop on a corner on a Saturday or a Sunday? Yeah.
Definitely, we will set one up. I know we had discussed that, and we're changing days, and the reason that we started with Wednesdays is because that's when we have most of our officers the higher number of officers working in those times. So, but we definitely will look at doing one on the weekend, and I think that's a good idea, so that we can get more involvement. But however, I will tell you from experience too, that sometimes on the weekends, it does make it even sometimes harder because people are out
business.
doing, yeah, they're doing other things. But we definitely will do one for on a weekend, on a Saturday, more than likely.
Okay, all right, looking down at the questions, can Lieutenant talk about how the new department, Albuquerque Community Department, is helping dispatchers? Albuquerque Community Safety Department is what I'm referring. Is that your new brief that you wanted to give a little later, Commander, or am I?
No, that's different. So I think with the community safety department, I can't talk a lot about what they are doing right now or their numbers, because I don't have that information. Now we can try to schedule or try to have them come in and talk about it. I do know that they're already operational, but they're not completely fully staffed yet. They do help reduce some of those calls, because they will go take some of those calls that traditionally have been dispatched, have had officers get dispatched to. But again, they're still not fully staffed, so there's still a minimal amount of calls that they can take. I don't have the numbers on it.
Okay. Okay, here's the tough one, because it goes back to what city ordinances are, but difficult situation, but the number of panhandlers and camps are increasing. Yes, we all know that. I think that was a big thing in the mayor election, and every one of them said they were going to take care of it. Some individuals, though, appear to be almost career panhandlers. That's a very true statement. Local businesses blast music to keep them away. Littering is constant. Is this the new norm, or are plans to help move these people along one way or another?
Um, well, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of used to that question now.
Yep.
And so, yes, we have seen an increase. I mean, we've seen quite a bit of an increase here in the Northwest. And unfortunately, it's, it's one of those things where we are having to find more creative ways to try to address that problem. I know the city is working on, I know they're working on the resource center that's going to be up in the Southeast. The community, the new public safety department or community safety, they're going to be working on some of those things. However, the one thing I want to point out is there has been a little bit of concern from the community, and we've seen it lately. There's been talk about the department not being able to do anything about some of these issues that come with panhandling. Again,
That's right.
I don't want to say that panhandlers are committing crimes and that's all they're doing. However, with panhandling, there are some certain crimes that come with it, like loitering and trespassing. We are addressing those. We can still cite, we can still issue criminal trespass notice, and we can still arrest if need be. I think that there was a little bit of misinformation, and I think that had to do with us. I say us, myself as a commander and command staff, not being clear and passing the information correctly. But I can tell you that when we talk about the McClendon, the McClendon doesn't prevent an officer from issuing a citation, making an arrest, or things like that. But the biggest thing for us with McClendon is that we cannot arrest an individual just on the basis that they do not have an address. And basically comes down to we can't just arrest somebody just because they're homeless. There has to be more, they have to be violating the law. But what the other thing is that we also have to take the least restrictive step first. And that means we give them an opportunity, if, for example, if they're trespassing, we'll give them an opportunity to leave, and also issue them a criminal trespass, let them know they can't be there. But we do have a lot of these complaints and these conversations, especially with our businesses, because they, we're seeing that they are having, they're having a lot of concerns because they have seen that increase. So we are working on those things. Again, it's just making sure that we're addressing it correctly, because the traditional way of, hey, let's just go in, because we can go in and make all sorts of arrests and remove people from areas, but is that the solution? And that's where we're at now, is we have to come up with an actual long-term solution. And frankly, that comes down to resources. It does come down to making sure that we have those resources and provide and give people an opportunity for those resources. And you're right, there are people who don't want those resources. There are. And to me, those individuals that don't want those resources, that want to still continue to violate the law, I mean, that we definitely have to address those.
Well, and the one here that I see, and I agree, most adults will feel this is disturbing, is over at the Smiths, there's somebody in a Mustang and they're using their kids.
Yeah, and we see that a lot. It's a very, and I can tell you when we see that, they're, the first thought is that, well, could that be considered child neglect or child abuse just for the fact that their kids are with them? I don't think, it's hard for us to be able to say, yeah, that's the case. We may not think that it's appropriate, but it comes down to, does it violate the law? Are they committing a crime? And is it to the point of where that child is in danger?
And
so
I would
those
also
are-
like, I would like to add this to everyone who doesn't agree with the panhandling. The city has no ordinance against panhandling. Correct me if I'm wrong, Commander. The
Right,
city,
not,
yeah, okay. So you can also get a hold of, well, you have two newly elected representatives on city council and ask them what can the city do to help the community and Albuquerque Police Department with panhandling. I do recommend that, because those two people just got elected into that position and say they want to make Albuquerque better. So the only way is let them know that you do not like that. All right. I'm sure I could fill hours with panhandling and how some of us feel about that, but in the interest of how we move on time. And I do see here it said that they do not feel that the question about animal abuse and neglect was answered correctly. I'll let
Yeah.
you handle that one. I know what my answer is on it, but I'll let you, sir.
well, we do have laws against animal abuse. And I personally have seen not only arrests made, I've seen people get charged for cruelty to animals. With the issue with the warrants, if an officer responded to a residence or a location where there was where they had a pet, whether it's a dog or whatever the case is, and that person got arrested and there is nobody there to take care of the animal, then animal control would be called out. However, to say that we would have to sending officers out with individuals who have warrants and try to, to alleviate, if I'm understanding correctly, that abuse or neglect The way that would be is if you know somebody, right, that's neglecting their pets, then you need a call. So at the very least, animal can go out there and make contact. Now, if you know that they're doing that, and you know that those individuals have warrants, then you need to call us and they'll make up a call. I can't say that they're gonna respond right away, but a call will be made so that an officer can respond out there.
And they also in turn can call the animal control using the city line of 311, I believe it is. Is that right? 311?
Yes.
Yes.
311.
Okay. All right, so I have a question here. Who's the new city councilors? District 1 is a councilor-elect Sanchez. I'm trying to remember his first name. If anybody else can, please
Louis.
help.
It's
Louis
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes. Okay, and then District 5 is, he was in before, now he's back in. He
Dan-
defeated
Dan Lewis.
Dan Lewis, yes. Okay, so both of those just got, they didn't even need a runoff. All right, so both of them from their districts were, took it hands down. So, all right. Do I know who Patricia Tracy is?
Yes, they have me down as Garcia, but I'm Tracy for the chairman for the Albuquerque Metro Crimestoppers.
Oh, okay, got you. All right.
Let me look at my text that Gene guy sent me. All right. Gene, did you give me the wrong name? Or did I put the wrong name down?
It's possible.
Dun, 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 dun. I keep my text messages for a couple of weeks just for this. Not that it matters, but it is Patricia Garcia.
It's Tracy.
All right. Our apologies.
No problem.
All right. With that, we'll move to recruitment date and then we'll get to the Crimestoppers. I guess the new commander or incoming commander is probably going to talk to the recruitment. Dave, go ahead, sir.
All right, well, and I haven't been over recruiting for quite a while. They have that under Lieutenant Jennifer Garcia now. What I can tell you is that we just graduated 47 cadets. They're in the middle of OJT, and they should be on their own come, I believe, the end of February. We start another cadet class December 4th, and the goal originally was 70. But through the backgrounds process, of course, we lose a few, and I believe they're going to seat north of 40 will be what we end up with. We also have 16 cadets coming over from CNM to start their APD training in the middle of December. And currently we have one lateral in training at the academy.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And we look forward to you, Dave. I'm pretty confident. You and I haven't worked together all that much, but I've through all the people that I know in APD, nothing but high marks, and they're looking forward to you to your success over here in the Northwest. So, okay, so then with
I
that,
appreciate it.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. But always. Yeah. Okay, so with that, I'd like to move over to the Crimestoppers, and I'm not sure which one's going to present first, but we have Patricia Tracy, and then we have Rob Duren, who's APD, and we have Gene Mullahey, who was the contact that got in touch with me and said they'd like to do a presentation to our CPC. So with that, I'm sure you all have been doing some presentations and you got it set up which way you want to go. So I'll turn it over to you, and we're all ears, ready to listen to your presentation.
Okay, well, this is Pat Tracy, and I am the current chairman of the Albuquerque Metro Crimestoppers, and want to thank you for having us here today. What we're trying to do is just get the word out again of who we are and what we do, and answer any questions that you all may have. We are a nonprofit. We're a 501c3 organization that solicits anonymous tips about crimes and criminals. We pay cash rewards up to $2,500 now for homicides and $1,000 for all other tips that lead law enforcement to make an arrest on further and ongoing investigations. We serve Bernalillo, Sandoval, Valencia, and Torrance counties currently. And our mission statement is the Albuquerque Metro Crimestoppers is a central New Mexico nonprofit organization that makes our community safe by partnering with law enforcement and the media to solicit, reward anonymous tips that prevent, stop, and solve crime. And I don't know if you all know that, but it originated right here in Albuquerque in 1976 by Greg McAleese, and is now a worldwide organization. Crime costs Americans more than $300 billion each year. Crimestoppers has helped law enforcement remove more than 800,000 criminals off our streets. Crimestoppers has helped law enforcement clear more than $3 billion in drugs off our streets, and we are supportive of neighborhoods, businesses, schools, and law enforcement. And I don't know, we just went to a conference in Omaha, Nebraska back in October. And what's interesting is we found out that only 30% of the rewards are being picked up by tipsters, which indicates to us that anonymity, I can't even say it, is what's working, not so much the money that we're paying out. So, you know, we're very pleased that people are wanting to give tips and remain anonymous, and not so much for the money. We have, not too long in the past, we now have campus Crimestoppers, which provides students, faculty, and staff a safe, informal, and anonymous system to give information about criminal activities, threats, and/or weapons without fear of retaliation. Rob will go in on how to make the tips in just a few minutes, but the information on campus Crimestoppers is submitted to law enforcement and/or administrators or the APS police, and the information is validated prior to any action being taken. Now, on the campus Crimestoppers, the rewards range from $10 up to $250. And those are in the form of gift cards, such as Amazon, Starbucks, gas cards, etc. We aren't actually paying cash for those tips. So we feel like that's a better choice for students to be making tips. So Rob, do you want to take it over on how to report to Crimestoppers for me?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to welcome you, Pat. She's our new chairman, and she's done a fabulous job so far. She's coming in with a lot of energy. In fact, on Monday, we're going to have a meeting with Chief Harold Medina, and you know, we want to get our name out more. Like she said, Crimestoppers started here in Albuquerque, and we are very proud of that. Worldwide, every state, almost every department in the country has a Crimestopper program. We're very proud of that. We want to be at the forefront of that. Anyway, how this thing works is a person submits a tip, and they get a tip number. They're totally anonymous. We have no idea. We don't trace the call. We have no idea who they are. And then we'll tell them to call back in a week or so and see if your tip led to an arrest or any information, whatever. And if it has, we give them information on how to pick up that money. We keep it kind of a secret how we do it, but we never meet them. We don't see them. It's done through a bank. And, you know, it works out well. We've solved a lot of crimes here in Albuquerque. In the schools, like she said, a lot of tips for bullying, tips for vandalism, weapons in school, and the program is working. We want to give the money out, guys. We have money. We want to give it out. We want people to call in. We want to help solve crimes. We know Albuquerque's bleeding right now. The crime is high. We want to do what we can as our program to help our city. So if we can get the word out, we're here. We want people to call, help us solve crimes. You know, we like pay up to $1,000 for a regular tip, $2,500 for, you know, a homicide. We got the money. We want to pay it out. We just want to get our name out there more and, you know, just help Albuquerque, you know, the best way we can. And so anybody have any questions about Crimestoppers? I know most of you guys have heard of us, but now you're going to hear about us a lot more. We're going to be out there doing different things in the community, getting out to more meetings. We want to get face to face with people. I would love to have, I know Pat would too, that I'd love to meet you guys, you know, in person, shake your hands so you can know us. We can get to meet you. But, you know, Zoom call will work too. This is the best we can do now. But we're going to be out there, guys. You're going to hear a lot more from us. And we want to help Albuquerque, you know, reduce the crime problem the best way we can. Thank you.
Yes, and what, about 3 or 4 years ago, the gentleman that started Crimestoppers was back here visiting Albuquerque, if I recall.
Yes,
Gene,
Greg.
yeah.
In fact, we had our 40th anniversary here, and we had the conference here in Albuquerque. We had, you know, people from all over the world here for the 40th anniversary. And Greg was out here. He talked, he presented. You know, it was great to see him. But he lives out in the Philippines right now. He's got his own life out in the Philippines, and he's doing well. And so he did come out here, grace us with his presence, and we had a good time meeting him, talking to him about the old days of Crimestoppers. We had a wonderful time.
Question, do the TV stations work with you to help promote Crimestoppers, being as you're a nonprofit?
Yes, they do. We've had telethons on to help raise money for Crimestoppers. All the money that we get are from donations. So yes, we've had telethons. We work with Channel 7. That's the station that first aired the Crimestoppers, the first tip on Crimestoppers. So Channel 7, they're the ones that work with us the most is Channel 7. So yes, we do work with news agencies.
Fantastic. Does anybody else have any questions? Is Gene gonna get to talk here? He's my buddy. He and I go back a few years. You can usually find us hanging out at DUI checkpoints.
Oh, wow.
Drink. Yeah, that's our version of coffee with a cop is go out at 30-degree temperature at 10 o'clock at night and stand there until it turns 20-degree temperature at 3 in the morning and then go home. So.
God bless you guys. You guys can have it. No.
I have a comment about how the Crimestoppers started, and Rob was just touching on it about television helping out. It was an original reenactment of a crime with Greg McAleese working with a local television station to put out there to the public how something happened and if anybody had seen or heard anything that might be beneficial in, you know, catching somebody that was involved in this crime. That's how it all happened in the first place. We worked with television and they put it out there and they solved the crime pretty quickly after that. Another thing that I heard recently at our meetings, but I didn't hear it this evening, is that we is it correct? Did I hear right that we are now in the prison system where they have some way of reporting within the prisons? They have tablets or such that they work with, and they have a way on there of reporting anonymously of something going on in the county jail or something like that also. Am I right, Rob or Pat?
Yes, we do. We keep that pretty quiet to protect our prisoners, you know. We don't want them getting hurt or anything like that, because if they get found, you know, doing that in prison or in jail, they're gonna be hurt. So we keep that pretty, you know, hush hush about something like that.
But it is still anonymous too, and there are no government funds, federal or state or city, involved in Crimestoppers. It's a 501c3. We solicit the funds from individuals, from businesses. We work with the businesses. We have Crimestoppers signs that if a business wants to, can put a sign on the facade of their facility letting the general public know that they work with Crimestoppers, or maybe you don't want to be attempting to rob that facility or that kind of thing.
Okay. I see here in the comments, they said, please encourage TV stations to announce when Crimestoppers has helped in solving a crime. I guess you can only ask them to do that. You can't never really make them do that. But from what I recall, and I haven't, and you're right, I haven't seen it all that much lately. But you know, the TV stations have been pretty good about Crimestoppers are offering this reward, and it was a Crimestoppers tip after, you know, you hear of a case solved. But it's been a while since I've noticed it. But me and local TV don't really communicate that well together anymore.
Well, I'm in the process of meeting with the news directors of Channel 7 and Channel 13, doing an interview, and also possibly bringing back Crime of the Week, Fugitive of the Week, or whatever, so that we can get more exposure out there.
Okay.
But Albuquerque, we probably got to do the crime of the day. It happens so much, so I think
That's
crime
true.
of the week is good. Maybe a little more often than that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I have to, I think, and everybody on this call agree with you. You know, our crime rate's out of control, but it's I believe there's brightness in the future. I believe APD will. I think this last election woke some people up when people voiced their opinion, and now seeing Crimestoppers come back into this and presenting here, and I assume you're going to present at the other CPCs as well. I can't see where they would decline any requests, Gene. And if you do have an issue with that, let me know. Kelly can work that for you real well too. Kelly can support that, getting the other CPCs for you to attend their meetings like you did ours tonight. So
That's the other thing, is that we are definitely trying to recruit more board members, because we are trying to get out there more.
right. Okay. All righty.
I have a question. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Go.
Okay, so we're in the Northwest, and I'm wondering, have you gotten a lot of leads in Northwest that came from Crimestoppers? Is that something you would know, or would that be something the police could tell us? Yeah, we got a number of leads, or it's working out well in the Northwest.
Our crimes, coming from all over the state. We get them from all over the city, tons of tips. And a lot of times we don't know who's calling in. We don't know where they're calling from, but we solve crimes all over the city. And like Mr. Miller said earlier, we need to get the word out, let the news say, hey, this was solved by a Crimestoppers tip. Because a lot of the crimes that happen in the city are solved by Crimestoppers tips.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the Northwest.
What's that?
I'm looking at the Northwest. Are you getting the tips coming in for the Northwest?
Like all over the city. We get, over 200 tips probably a month, maybe a little more than that. Our coordinator is like inundated with tips, graffiti, shootings, a lot of the retail stuff that comes in, people that are going to the stores, pushing out stuff. It happens all over the city. So we really do get tips all over the city. And, we want more. We want people to call in more. Instead of 200 tips, we want 500 tips. This crime happens daily. We want people to call in. It's anonymous. We don't know who people are. So we, like what Pat's saying, we want to get our message out to as many people as we can. So if we can do more Zoom calls with different CPCs, we want to do it. But yeah, we do get tips from the Northwest. I can't tell you how many right now, but we're solving crime all over the city. We want to do more. We really do.
And you're not really tracing the calls, so to speak. So, and the day of cell phone, I could call you from the East Mountains and reporting something on the Northwest. I see where you're asking though, Tom, but I don't believe it. I don't believe you guys would be dissecting and tracking it to a certain
I was
quadrant.
just wondering if it's working in the Northwest.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So if I can't get those numbers from our coordinator, I'll pass them on to Gene to get to you guys. because that may be something that we can track where the crimes were solved at.
Okay.
So I'll see if I ask our coordinator if we have that information. I get it to Gene, and maybe you can get it to Tom if maybe that hopefully we can get those numbers out to you. So we want to serve it. Yeah.
Maybe next month somebody could tell us how well we're doing in the Northwest.
Thank you, sir. I'll find that out for you.
It'll be January, Tom. We've already made the decision there wouldn't be a December meeting. So January. There won't be a meeting until the third Wednesday in January, which is January 19th.
Okay.
Okay. All right. No, that'd be good, Tom. Good question. Does anybody? I'm trying to watch the right. I do not see any questions for the Crimestoppers.
Let me throw this out there, Jeff.
Sure.
So when someone calls 911 for a police action, there would be definitely traced in case the call is lost or something happens to the calling party on the other end of the phone, and it can be traced on 911. When folks call 843 stop for Crimestoppers, it is not traced in any fashion at all. And if somebody is trying to make a tip and they start trying to, spout out their name or something like that, they will be cut off immediately and told if they want to remain anonymous, they need to stop right there. If they want to make themselves public, call 911. Otherwise,
Gotcha.
Don't tell us who you are. Don't tell us where you live. Just continue without saying more about who you are and just say what the tip is. So there is no tracing of that at all. And there's also an app, and maybe Rob could speak to this too, the P3 app that can be put on your phone to do anonymous tips. Could you say something on that, either Pat or Rob, about the P3?
Yeah, P3 Tips is an app that everybody uses apps now. So Crimestoppers got into the business of using apps. It's easier for people. You can download it from the app store into your phone. It's called P3 Tips, and people can submit tips anonymously through their cell phone or through their tablet. They can just type it in without actually talking to anybody, and get it. It works well, guys. So, we're trying to be modern now. The old days of doing reenactments is gone, so we're trying to get more modern. So the P3 Tips, you want to download that. We put out the crimes, different crimes on that people can look at from Crimestoppers, and it's got a lot of information on there. So if you ever want to download P3 Tips, it's another app that we use to help us solve crimes.
Okay.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Gene. Good point.
Yep. So again, people, for Crimestoppers, it's 843 stop. So we can get that word out, and it'd be nice to see some more of this being publicized more. Because when Gene got a hold of me, I was like, wow, Crimestoppers, I haven't heard about them in a while. And I think you all recognize that, and here you are, you're out doing it.
And that's our fault for not putting it out more. So we got a new president who's really energetic, so we're happy to have her, and you will hear from us a lot more, I guarantee you.
That's fantastic. Yeah, anytime you want to attend the Northwest CPC, let us know, and we'll put you on the attendance and give you a few minutes, if you want to throw some stats at us or just want to say hi to the Northwest community. We have 36 people on this call total right now. So we appreciate it. And I see someone put a billboard advertisement for Crimestoppers. All righty, that's an idea. I'm sure they'll look into that. Facebook, social media, all that stuff.
We're on Facebook, Twitter, and another social media that we're on. We're definitely on Facebook.
Okay. All righty. I see no more questions for Crimestoppers. So with that, I'd like to thank you, and I'd like to move through to the commander again so he can give us his briefing on area command plan for the community engagement. And for the Crimestoppers people, if you'd like to stay on, you're more than welcome. You jump off, that's entirely up to you. But we appreciate you. Gene, thank you for reaching out and refreshing our memories here that Crimestoppers is still around. So I appreciate that. And Art, it's all yours, sir.
All right, well, thank you. I appreciate that, Jeff. So I'm not gonna take a lot of your time, but I'm just gonna give you a little bit of what our the Northwest Area Command strategic plan is. Basically, one of the things that we had talked to the monitoring team about with regards to community engagement was doing with the paragraph 260, which talks about the department's public information and community engagement. So each one of the area commands has an area command website. And in that website, the area commands have specific information that that we want to get out to the public. One of the things that we didn't have was a plan not only to be able to show, okay, this is how our plan is going to work when we communicate with the community, when we provide them information, and also to standardize what we show and what we have on those area command websites. And so with the assistance of Dr. Rickman, we ended up creating the Northwest Area Command Plan. And I say we, I had a really, really good team that worked with me. And I think actually Lieutenant Garcia, who by the way, is gonna be taking over the community engagement paragraphs once I leave. She actually is the one that worked on this and put a lot of it together for the area commands. And the things that we wanted to have on there were, one, we wanted to have obviously a mission and vision statement for the area commands. And for the most part, everything was pretty consistent for all area commands because our mission and vision statement really had to be what the city and the department had to be in line with both of those. And then we talked about our strategic objectives and what those were going to be. One of the things that we did when we first started revamping our area command websites was we sent out a surveys, and I think maybe some of you on here may have done that survey. I know it's been a little while, but in that survey, we had 5 questions. We asked those 5 questions as to how the community wanted to receive their information and what kind of information was important to them. Each area command responded, and so each area command adapted their website in accordance to some of the to what those results were. For example, for my area command, one of the methods was Nextdoor. It's used a lot up here in the Northwest. There's a lot of information that goes through Nextdoor. The area command website, social media, which may be Facebook, or Twitter or things like that. And the CPC councils, where, we send a lot, and we really send it to all the community neighborhood associations, but that's where we send our newsletter to the CPCs every month. So those are some of the things that we created. Our Southwest or Southeast, theirs may be different because they may use a different platform to go with what fits their area command. Some of the key information that we are looking and we have on the website, but we're looking at improving is what really the number one for the community is crime stats. I do know that, that some of those stats are a little behind as far as they're not 100% up to date. And that's just because of the process that we have in place to be able to verify those numbers and provide accurate numbers to the community. The comparative crime statistics, again, although they are from previous, it's not up to, or I think it's a couple of months or maybe a month lagging, but we're still putting those up there. We're putting as current as we can. Events, having upcoming events on the Air Command website. We're working on revamping the calendar on those websites so that now when you go on the website, that you'll see what's happening in that week. I don't know if you've noticed, but one of the things that I did in my newsletter is that there is a calendar in that newsletter, and it provides a what upcoming events. There's some that are the normal CPC meetings, neighborhood association meetings, but we also put other events in there, such as our business coalition meetings that may be coming up, or anything that we can forecast and we have scheduled ahead of time. Special initiatives. Again, those are things that'll go up on the website, things that are going on, whether it's a violent crime operation or property crime operation or things like that. So that's really, I mean, what the plan, what those areas of the plan are. There was a couple of things that I know we had been discussing, and you'll see on there when you look at this, again, this is a draft, was when we're talking about barriers. One of the things that we looked at when we talk about barriers within an area command is looking ahead to see what is it that we have to make sure that we are aware of. And one of the barriers that's on there is that, at least in the area command, one of the things that has been expressed is that, yes, community engagement and some of these other things are important, but the number one priority right now is crime. And we have had that from different neighborhood associations, contacts with the community and events that we've had. That's there's number one focus. They feel that sometimes we're putting a little too much focus on the engagement part and not enough focus on the crime prevention part. And so the reason that we have it as a barrier is because it's important for us to make sure that the community understands that they go hand in hand. The engagement, the community policing, the problem solving within the area command goes hand in hand with that crime reduction. Yes, like I stated before, we can send a bunch of officers to a specific area, write a bunch of tickets, make a bunch of arrests, but is that really long-term? But in having the engagement and having the community policing and the problem solving, the POP projects are part of that reduction in crime. And so we put it there as a barrier because the idea is that this plan right here is going to go to actually Acting Commander Saladin for the area command. He's going to have it. And it's no longer going to be one of those to where the commander that comes in now has to figure it out and has to think about something different. It's already going to be there. And we want to make sure that that new commander, when they come in, they are always aware that one of the barriers is this misconception. And it's important that they keep that in mind so that they are able to provide the information and explain it to the community. And so, and of course, some of the other ones, the other barriers are sometimes we don't get a lot of participation in some of the neighborhood associations. So working on those things and trying to come up with better ways of innovative ways to help those neighborhood associations to get more participation. Staffing for social media platforms. And again, the low staffing levels for the department. That's a barrier. Sometimes the things that we want to accomplish are hard to accomplish without the proper resources. The other part that you'll see on there that that we'll look at is the key activities. We're revamping social media, which is part of it is going to be revamping the Area Command websites. We've actually made a lot of improvements to the Area Command websites. One of the things when I first took over the paragraphs, I started looking at the websites from other departments. And the one that really stood out the most was the Las Vegas Metro website. And so we kind of took a little bit from them. But we continue to revamp it and add more information and change more information. So again, and you'll be able to see what's on there, what we're looking at with the activities. The other thing that we look at is reaching those hard to reach groups, whether it's youth in particular or senior citizens. Part of this plan is it talks about how we are going to do that. How are we going to use to reach youth? Are we going to work with the community centers? We're going to work with the schools, working with the PTAs, because in order for us to get to some of those youth, we have to work on the parents too and reach out to them. Again, those are some of the things that are in that plan. We'll have the resources that we think we need to accomplish this plan and to continue with this plan, whether it's the community engagement officers, the ambassadors, crime prevention specialist, who is very, very involved in a lot of our initiatives, especially our outreach. And that's going to include external resources. And then we have to look at, and something that we're still working on, is how are we going to measure that? I know one of the things that Lieutenant Garcia and I had talked about, and some of the people on my team, was maybe just looking at the hits that are coming in on social media to see if people are pulling up that and getting that information. And then on the partnerships that we have throughout the year. Again, those are preliminary. We're trying to find other ways that we may be able to measure that, because it's going to be important. If we don't measure it to show that it's succeeding, then why are we going to continue to do it that way? And that's going to be important for us. We'll have our goals on there, our short-term goals and our long-term goals. So again, that's and then the short version of this. Obviously, if you have any questions, by all means, ask me those questions. And most importantly, the reason that we send it out to the CPCs is because we welcome your input. We want to get your input. I'm going to put in my email on there. I believe Commander Saladin did also. So reach out to us, and I'll have Lieutenant Garcia put hers in there too, since she's actually responsible for this paragraphs as of Saturday. And so just reach out to us, give us your input. We don't want to create something that's so important to all of us and that affects you, that's important to you, without having your input on it. So please provide that for us.
Okay, so they do have a couple comments. Whoever thought up the Northwest Area Command Center newsletter is awesome. It's very informative. So there's a good positive takeaway. Then we have a question: is what sort of engagement are you wanting from neighborhood associations, sir?
Well, really, what we're doing now is one. We want the neighborhood associations to let us know what we can do for them. Especially the ones that we really want to hear from are the ones that have a lot of involvement. Because the idea for us is we want to look at the neighborhood associations that have a lot of involvement and those neighborhood associations that may not have a lot of involvement, and see what it is that they're doing so that we can help the other neighborhood associations. We want input on things that, that we can do better, especially on when we go to your meetings. We're going to start having officers go out to those meetings more, the in-person meetings now. But we want to hear about crime concerns and issues that are going on in your neighborhood, but we also want to hear about things that we can improve upon, things that we could do better. Not only within the partnerships with the neighborhood associations, but within the area command, and things that we may be doing right, because those things we may be able to take back to the other area commanders or area commands to say, hey, we're doing this, you may want to consider it. And with regards to the newsletter, you definitely got to give Pete all the credit on that. He's the one that puts it together. He has done an amazing job with that. So I'm sure he's on here, so I'll make sure he gets the credit for that.
And he's showing up as being in here, so he'll be quiet. You know how he is, Art. He'll hold back on us. Okay, is there a separate web page for the Northwest CC other than the CAB? I guess you have CABS, cabq.gov.
Yeah,
link.
no, there is, I think they put it up there now. But that is the actual direct website that goes to the Northwest Area Command.
Right.
Because if you go onto the city website, you'll find the Northwest Area Command website, but there is a link to go directly to the Area Command without having to go everything through the city. But I think
Right.
somebody put it up there already, but we can put it up again.
Alrighty, sir. And Stephanie says, thank you, Commander, for all the details. Now we have a question from Dennis. Are we still doing neighborhood watch? I haven't seen anybody doing, no, I got to take that back. There is some up around the library that have a neighborhood watch. And I know, Pete, do they register with you, sir? Because I remember attending one of the training classes with you a couple, it's been probably 2 years, where Bob Ober and his crew came out. But Pete, do you know of any neighborhood watches active in the Northwest Command?
Yes, that's correct. They either contact me via email or by telephone. Actually, the last 3 months, I've got a total of 7 neighborhood watch startups that we've got. I had one last night. I had one the week before. So the word is getting around with these neighbors, and what they're realizing just from talking to the neighborhood watch startup last night is that they realize that we have officers, we're short of officers, and they want to start up neighborhood watch to help us. They realize you guys need our help, and we actually let them know we do. We need your help. We need your eyes. We need your elves. You know, we need you to call the 242 cops or the 911. So I'm actually seeing an increase in people getting a hold of me interested in starting neighborhood watch programs.
Well, there we have it, right from the man that takes care of it. And Pete does a fantastic job. I'd like to remind you that Pete is a crime prevention specialist. He runs the block captain programs. He'll even schedule visits through his department to come on out and do a walk around of your house to let you know where you have potential security breaches. And he's also in charge of the neighborhood watch people and provides some excellent training should you want to do that. There you have, we'll probably throw Pete's email in there too.
Yes, I've included my phone number and my email on the chat.
Right. And I know every now and then this comes on up, Dennis. I see your question. You know, regarding cameras like Ring, are you reaching out to neighborhoods to make this info available? That has been, I want to say, a continuous process. I always hear it come on up every so often. But Pete, I know you have, and I know your department has. And cameras are encouraged, you know, so Stephanie, you want to start one? I think you have a microphone, Stephanie. You're welcome to talk. I believe you're on panelists that you should be able to talk. Yeah.
Yes, I do. And I reached out to Pete, and we will be trying to start that here in my neighborhood.
Fantastic.
Stonebridge.
Fantastic. So
Yeah,
there you have it.
One thing we can do, sorry.
No, go ahead, sir.
I was going to say one thing that we can do too, and I'll sit down with the acting commander Saladin and Pete, is putting that information on our newsletter or the website too, with the encourage continue to just put it on there and put it on there to encourage people to start the neighborhood watch, to get those block captains going. And the other is somebody had with the ring, put it in there, and we'll add it, the process, where to go. And so hopefully that'll help.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, all right, so I'm gonna move on down the agenda. And do we call Pete? Reference neighborhood watch, yes. Yes, you call Pete. Okay. Just a reminder, we've elected last month, there was unanimous to not hold a meeting in December. So our next meeting will be January the 19th. However, Kelly, I will get in contact with you and the panelists. We will have to hold a meeting somewhere between now and then, because I think we have some business to discuss as a panelist, and we potentially may have some candidates who are applying to join the panel. So therefore we do the interview processing. Okay. So now I'll move down my agenda to any other matters from the public. I know we discussed quite a bit here tonight, but I'm looking at the chat room to see if I see anything typed in there. And do any of the panelists have any questions? It's open mic. Silence means no. Okay. All right. And I don't see anything else in there from anybody else. Now, just my little spill. Weather's getting cold. Please do not start your cars and leave them running in your driveway and go in the house and have your cup of coffee. That is the easy take for vehicle theft, is cars running in the driveway, as well as leaving valuables visible in your cars. We're coming on the holiday seasons. People will be out shopping, and thieves look for the easy take. Lock the doors. Don't let anybody see that you just bought a brand new microwave or TV or anything of that nature. If you buy something of that value, my suggestion is just take it home right away. And these are all things that we can do. I know the malls will increase security. I know APD will do the best that they can to increase patrols through the mall areas, but please be aware of your surroundings. Those little don'ts and the do's can help prevent you from being a victim of your car stolen or your vehicle being broken into and vandalized. So with that, I'm going
Yep.
to, yes, go ahead.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. I apologize. I don't want to keep everybody longer, but I'm glad you mentioned that because we had an incident last night right there at Universe in Paradise at the Walgreens. And this goes back to making sure you're locking your cars. If you are sitting in your car, warming your car up, lock your door. We had an incident there last night where a female, she was there with her mother-in-law, walked into the Walgreens. Her mother-in-law stayed in the car, and an individual walked around the side of the Walgreens and actually jumped in the car and drove off in the car with his mother-in-law in it. Crashed into a couple of other cars. Luckily, after he crashed the second time, he jumped out. We were able to take him into custody, but
Good.
It's that being aware. He opened the door because the door was unlocked and he climbed in there. And so please be very, very aware, because these things do happen and they continue to happen.
And that's a good example there of one. Yeah. Yeah. If you're even in your car and it's warming up, lock the doors, have the windows up. I agree, sir. Because people will carjack you, and right there's an example. And I'm glad no one was hurt. I'm glad the individual is caught, and I hope the judicial system doesn't fail us and they do the right thing. So, alrighty, with that, I don't see anyone else on the microphone. Kelly, I'll be in touch. For our panelists that need to approve new members, it'd probably be the middle of December that we'll hold a meeting, or let me put it this way, it will be before December the 15th that we can hold a meeting. And if we have any applicants, so be looking for an email from Kelly for a Zoom meeting. But we're going to take our monthly off. I appreciate everyone attending tonight. I love the inputs. I enjoy APD's briefings. I understand their situation on their manpower. Everybody else needs to please understand it. And I welcome the new lieutenant because he's going to do a good job as well. So with that, I'm done unless anybody, that's it. All right, how's that?
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Are you still there, Jack? Hold on. Everyone, have a good evening.